Hello. I'd like to begin by thanking the entire Blue Line team for everything you do and have done for so many years through your publication that promotes the profession of policing and advances technology and equipment. And thank you for inviting me to bring a few words about recruiting. My name is Paul Pedersen, and I am the Chief of Police of the Greater Sudbury Police Service. Before I talk directly about recruiting, I want to talk a bit about the business of policing. Policing is still a people business. While technology and artificial intelligence certainly has changed things, at the end of the day, policing is done at a local level, a community level. People like their police department and their officers. Certainly everybody understands about the bigger picture, about drug cartels and about organized crime. But policing is done face to face, one interaction at a time. Much has changed over the years, complexities, new crimes, but Peel's principles are still the same. The public are the police, and the police are the public. But the question is, who is the public today, and what are their expectations? The theory of representative democracy suggests that the public wants us to represent them in not only what we do, but in who we are. The public expects to see themselves in us. And the demographics of our public are changing, and that means the demographics of our police service has to change as well. That's why we add the equity, diversity, and inclusion lens for recruiting, hiring, and promoting. But it's not just that. It's not just about how we look. There has to be a business advantage to drive the change. What is the business advantage that EDI brings to us? I often use an analogy of hockey, that on every team you need forwards, defense, and a goalie. If you've got the best forwards, best defense, but the goalie can't stop a puck, you need to draft a goalie. So what do we need? We need gender and diversity. But why? When we're talking about intimate partner violence, where the majority of the victims are women, do a bunch of men that look like me sitting around a table come up with the best plan? Or should we bring in somebody with lived experience? Should we bring in somebody that has a different lens to look at things? When we're dealing with things like systemic racism or racial profiling, we need lived experience, not only from those outside of our organization, but the real life story from people inside our organizations. So then, how do we recruit from demographics that are underrepresented? Or from demographics where the police profession may not be seen as a positive career choice? Let me ask you this. How many of you have heard of a policeman? What other profession is defined by gender? Do we say doctor man? Do we say teacher man? What does that say to a young girl starting out in grade school when she's asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? These are systems that are in place that are hurting our recruiting drives. What does it say to a young person when parents say that police are the enemy and that all cops are bad? That's where the emphasis on public trust and confidence in everything we do has to be aligned. We have to have our diversity teams, our community policing teams, and our frontline and investigative teams aligned. Trust isn't built by mission statements. Trust isn't built by bricks and mortar or by analytics. It's built by our people, one interaction at a time. Oh, sure, our mission, vision, and values matters. And solving crimes matters. But a ton of good police work, great police work, can be undone by one viral video or one bad situation. One of my favorite sayings is, the best time to make a friend is before you need one, which is why any sound recruiting strategy must first build the bridges that allow us to reach into the communities and demographics that we want to recruit. Okay, so what are we doing here at Greater Sudbury Police Service, and what changes have we seen? First, let me tell you a little bit about us. We're in northeastern Ontario, arguably central Ontario. We're the largest municipal police service north of the GTA. I like to say we're a big city that lives like a small town. We have a population of about 164,000 people. We have a significant Francophone community, and we sit on Robinson-Huron Treaty land with the First Nations of Atikameksheng and Wanapitei. There is a significant urban Indigenous population. We have 273 sworn officers and 130 civilians, 403 employees. We usually send anywhere from 2 to 5 people to the Ontario Police College at any intake. That makes large-scale change for representative democracy slow. It also means that we have to get it right, because any mistakes in hiring can't be hidden. First, our journey for inclusion started years ago. We had and continue to have diversity advisory councils, youth advisory councils, and an Indigenous advisory council that's been in place for over 20 years. After the murder of George Floyd, we formed some specific working groups to focus on even more change. 2 in particular have focused on recruiting, hiring, promoting, and retaining people from groups that are currently underrepresented in our service. Through our anti-BIPOC racism working group, we formed an invaluable partnership with ULU. ULU stands for Uluntu, which means humanity, Lungisa, which means justice, and Usawa, which means equity. It's a grassroots organization based in Greater Sudbury, founded in 2018 in response to the experience of poor race relations in our city, including racism and unconscious bias. The collaboration between ULU and GSBS is the beginning of what hopes to be a long-standing, impactful, and productive relationship. This group delivers anti-racism teachings to everyone in our organization and contextualizes it with lived experience. Through our Authentic Inclusion Working Group, we continue to work on cross-sectional policy and procedural reviews, particularly a comprehensive audit of our recruitment and hiring policies and practice. This audit includes identifying and addressing barriers for BIPOC, LGBTQS+, and women when applying to being hired at GSPS. The audit is part of an overarching strategy to increase diversity amongst our membership, to better reflect and relate with the communities we serve. We saw the criticism of the policing profession in its entirety as an opportunity to lead police reform and to learn about and look at some of the hard truths and to genuinely make a difference in our future. The new constable selection system for the province has broken down some of the barriers that existed previously by eliminating some of the financial restrictions, by providing for remote testing, which reduces traveling and is big for us in the north, and assists in reaching some of the remoter areas of the province, and by leaving the physical component of the hiring process up to individual police services. The goal has been to cast a wider net and allow for more choice at the local level. This is important. The standards haven't been lowered, but we hope is that doors have opened up. As with the hockey analogy, I can't pick a goalie if there's no goalies in the draft. This is all about building winning teams, addressing gaps and weaknesses, providing opportunity, and building public trust through competent, professional, representational police officers. This is achieved by integrating the strategic vision in all that the police service does, so that at the very early ages, people who may not have thought about policing as a career opportunity begin to see themselves in the profession and say, why not me? This is about what we need today, and more importantly, what we need and who we will be in the future. I continue to be proud of this profession and proud of the people who day in and day out deal with complexity, change, and challenge, and do so with nobility and dedication. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak today. Merci, miigwech.